Hey folks, this will be another episode of Blowing Things Up and Keeping It Real. All right, couple of things. I have a ton of people in my circles that are tied up in the CDK nonsense, the CDK hack that locked down a ton of dealers. Supposedly over 15,000 automotive dealers use the CDK dealer communication system to run their dealerships. And I'm not here to really talk about the hack or the tech about how the hack happened or the millions of dollars that are supposedly being talked about as ransom in the ransomware. But what I want to talk about is business strategy. See, I'm a regular on the show called the Membership Machine Show. And on the Membership Machine Show, we talk about different SaaS platforms and then different options in the WordPress space. And I'm typically on the WordPress side of things. And people ask me, why are you such, an evangelist? Why are you such an ambassador for WordPress? And I always go to digital sovereignty and flexibility. I started in WordPress 19, almost 20 years ago. And when you look at what WordPress was 20 years ago, it was a blogging platform. People could go in and say, oh, I'm sitting on the back porch today. It was like Twitter before there was Twitter, right? And so people would enjoy being able to blog or to share things about themselves in a first in, first out kind of way. And it created a database, a content management system. But the idea of a content management system over the last 20 years has grown quite a bit. And so now when you have conversations about WordPress, you're not really talking about blogging. I mean, some people blog and have posts. I have posts in the Mañana No Mas website. But what we're really looking at is, what do you want the website to represent or to do for you? Do you want it to hold your customer resource management tool? Do you want it to store the purchase history for your clients? Do you want it to automate text messaging and phone calls? Do you want it to act as a shopping cart for your food truck, for your restaurant, for your business? Do you want it to do all of those things? And when you start to have a real conversation about WordPress and owning your own website versus jumping onto a SaaS platform, you start to have a conversation that really is, what is your core as a business or as an entrepreneur or as an initiative, as an association? What is your core driving thing? And so if we think about the CDK example, people say, well, this is different. CDK is not a dealership website. It's a dealer communication system, right? And so we got to be careful how we label things. It's a website, and all these dealers sign into it with their membership credentials to access the different elements of this centrally hosted giant website. And this centrally hosted giant website gives these accounts the ability to hold their inventory, their customers' information, schedule appointments, make repair orders, do sales deals, calculate finance and insurance, all these things. All of these things can happen. And part of the reason that people like SaaS, which is software as a service, is because everything's wrapped up. It's hosted somewhere else. You don't really have to worry about updates and technical stuff, right? The people that run the SaaS worry about that. You just subscribe to the service and try to run your business off of that service. A really great example of this is a lot of the work that we do at Mañana No Mas is in learning management systems. We create training websites for other companies, whether they're training their staff or they're selling courses to other people. We help people kind of get over the hump and get their learning sites done. As an agency, that's one of our specialties. We do e-commerce, we do membership, but we also do these learning management sites. And so if we think about it in those terms, if I build it in WordPress for my client owns that website. They host the website at their host of choice. They use their theme. They can design the look, the appearance, the feel as they see fit. And they get the benefits of the functionality that I'm able to embed into that package through my agency. And so if they want to have a learning management site that also does, some automations with a customer resource management tool, we can build that. If they want to have a learning management site that allows for live coaching, we can do that. If they want to sell one-on-one coaching sessions, with 15 different professors or service providers in their network, I can build a site that allows them to do that through WordPress. And so when you look at a SaaS platform like a Kajabi or a Udemy, Udemy is one of the biggest training websites in the world, right? Billions of dollars. And so when you take a look at Udemy, Udemy is a SaaS platform. So when I put my course on Udemy, which I did this year as a test subject, when I put my course on Udemy, I don't really get to pick the layout, the way the pages look. I don't get to pick like make an about me page and a services page. And like, I'm not building a website. I'm just putting up the course. And that's something to really take to heart. Am I building a website? Am I building a presence that's meant to speak for my company? Or am I just building a product on someone else's platform that I'm going to refer people to? So once you figure that out and you go, okay, well, SaaS works for me. Once you make that commitment, you're in someone else's backyard the whole time. If they change their policies, you're out. If they change their look, their feel, their appearances, you're along for the ride, whatever it is. And there's something else that happens. The amount of spam that I got on every channel imaginable when I did my Udemy test was unbelievable. They were in my LinkedIn direct messaging, Facebook. People were hitting me up on Telegram. I don't even use Telegram. I have it because I have one client that says, oh, I'm going to send you updates on Telegram. So for that one client, I have Telegram, and I got like 50 spam messages through Telegram. They hit me up on my email. They hit me up on my web forms for my websites, multiple websites. And so they basically did a search that said, what websites does Kurt Von Annen run? And then hit me on every single web form about helping me sell my Udemy course. Text messaging everywhere. So the spam was incredible. So remember, when you sign up on someone else's SaaS platform, where is your information going? Who has access to it? And who's going to try and sell you additional services on top of the SaaS subscription? These are all great questions. Conversely, when you build something in WordPress, the battle's actually the opposite. It's trying to get people to find what you built, right? So in WordPress, you own the site. You choose to host it wherever you want, right? So with our agency, we of course like people to host with us, but they could host their website wherever they want. They can design it the way they want. It can look the way they want. It can have other features built onto it the way that they want, like all of that freedom. And so when I think about the CDK thing, I'm going to come full circle to the beginning of this conversation where we were talking about CDK and the hack and knocking those 15,000 dealers out of business. That is a side effect of SaaS. We've all seen those days where Facebook goes down for an afternoon and people freak out because they have chosen to build their business, their revenue stream on Facebook. Like having a Facebook group page that they sell coaching through. Instead of having their own website, something they own, something they manage, something they control, they've chosen to put their product into someone else's playground. And when they do that, they're held captive to that playground. And when that playground shuts its gate, that gate is closed. And there's not always warning for that. Now imagine you're going to do a live event. You scheduled it to that you're going to stream live in Facebook. And then all of a sudden, right before you're supposed to go live, the integration with your streaming software fails. Facebook goes down for a bit. Anything can happen. Now, truthfully, anything can happen in your own website too, but it's more manageable because it's yours. You can make a quick message or a quick phone call or a quick something and go, hey, help me. My website's down. But with Facebook, who are you going to talk to? Not going to talk to anybody. Right after Elon Musk bought Twitter and changed the name to X.com, there was a day where X went down and people lost their marbles, right? But that's because that's a SaaS platform and they've got all these people kind of in this walled garden here. And it's like, what are you going to do when that goes down? When you have your own website and you use the social tools as support rather than anchors, then you have the freedom and the mobility and the flexibility to do what you want, have the content you want, support the people the way that you want, and build your own little empire. And then you use your Facebook, your X, your TikTok, all that as support structure, support channels to drive traffic back to the property that you own. And so if I take this full circle and I go back to the CDK hack, I have to ask. People would say, well, that doesn't make sense, Kurt. It's too late in the game. And maybe it is too late in the game. I'm going to throw it up. Maybe it is too late in the game. But why are all the dealers on CDK and running all of this information through CDK as a subscription service when realistically, what if dealers ran on like a WordPress-like open source platform where each dealer would host their own site and then through a series of APIs or data sharing, we're able to access, say, the parts inventory at Ford, the parts inventory at Chevy, the vehicle purchase inventory at Alfa Romeo. Like, what if that were a thing? What if it were simply, hey, you have your own website, and then through these common APIs, and we all know what this is in the developers world, right? If I want to put Zoom inside my website, I can build a tool in Zoom that gives me an API, and I put that API connection into my website, and then I have the tools to manage my Zoom account through my website. I can do that with whereby.com. That's how your payment gateways work. That's how a website can have WooCommerce or Shopify or something like that that'll connect to PayPal and Stripe and Authorize.net and tools like that. So imagine if the car industry was working on some kind of open source platform. Open source meaning you download the software for free, right? The dealer would be able to build their marketing website on that content management system. And then in the back end, through membership portals, would be able to create, a service portal, a parts portal, and a sales portal, and a finance portal. And they would be able to run their business through those portals connected to different APIs and databases like that. It's an interesting way to think about it. And it would create a sense of independence away from this giant SaaS thing that once it got hacked, it was done. Folks, this is an ongoing issue. As of this morning, I heard that some dealers were able to access certain features, but didn't have full data access yet because, CDK is being super cautious. I wonder what the super cautious thing is about, because apparently the hackers already have the data. So what's there to be cautious about now? Let's get these guys back to work. But imagine you're trying to raise a family and you're working for a facility where, when the computer goes down, everybody says they can't work for the day. That is a weird scenario. I am a Gen X kind of dude. Give me a pad of paper, a pen, and I'm still doing business. So it was really weird to see people step back and go, oh, we can't do this. It was interesting. And so I'm not going to stay on too much longer here and talk about this. I just wanted to flush that through my mind. And if you've got comments, feel free to put them in the comments. If I can see it before we sign out, then I'm all game to have a conversation about it. But I'm just thinking if we could see forward now, right? So this is where we're at today. Where we're at today is the whole automotive world is in a shambles. So then I have to think to myself, if I was a power sports dealer and I was on Lightspeed, like Lightspeed is the power sport equivalent to CDK. If I was on Lightspeed, I'd probably be thinking, like, what's my backup plan going to be? Do I have a backup website? Do I have a backup way to do inventory? Do I have a backup way to maybe manage repair orders in a different way? Is there a process I could put in place that would ensure that my business wouldn't shut down if somebody hacked the big game in town? And here's something to think about. And I don't know how this works. I honestly don't know how this works. So I'm hearing that CDK was hacked and that they've received a ransomware for tens of millions of dollars or something like that. And they know who hacked them. I don't know. For tens of millions of dollars, I could probably pay to have somebody whacked instead of giving them the money. But I don't want to talk in those ways. Let's get back to normal here. If this continues to be the thing, then every large SaaS platform becomes a potential victim for this. Like, if we all sit back and go, oh, well, let CDK pay the money, and they pay the money and everything comes back to life, and yay, well, how much longer before they get hacked again? How much longer before Lightspeed gets hacked? How much longer before ADP gets hacked? How much longer before SAP gets hacked? How much longer before? And so if you are a business, especially a smaller business, and you are attached to these big SaaS platforms, it's probably time to circle the wagons and go, okay, what's our backup plan if this fails? At least have a process in place. For me, like I said, I'm a Gen X kind of dude. I grew up doing these things by hand. I got 20 years in the automotive industry running service departments. If I were at the dealer at this time, it would have been no hesitation. All right. Grab a box of those manual repair orders. Let's start writing these things up by hand. We'll catch the computers up later. If we dot the I's, cross the T's, try to make sure the decimal points are in the right place. If we make a mistake with the math, we'll try and reconcile it on the back end when we're back up. But, you got to recognize, hey, we might be off. Like when we reconcile our credit card statements at the end of this week, we're probably going to be off. But we're doing the best guesstimate we can so that we can keep business going, keep customers happy, and be solvent. And that's not what a lot of dealers did. So my thoughts for the day on that: SaaS versus having your own thing. And again, I'm a WordPress advocate, but maybe you got your own HTML website. Maybe you're building something in Linux. Maybe you're doing something, I don't know, Laravel. There's tons of options out there. And so the question begs me, do I want to do I want to be on Wix, Squarespace, or WordPress? Well, do I want to put all of my game pieces in someone else's toy box? Or do I want to hold on to those toy pieces for myself and my own development? For me, every time I'm going to pick either a standard HTML website that I'm hosting myself or WordPress. That's the way I see that. And in full transparency, I do have SaaS products that I use as Mañana No Mas. My invoicing comes through a SaaS platform. My proposals go through a SaaS platform. My project management tool goes through a SaaS platform. Could I put that in my own WordPress space? I could. I absolutely could. And I've given it thought. But my problem is, and this is where some people might be, like when I bought into my SaaS platform for business, I bought a lifetime license to it. So in the back of my mind, it's like, I know how to back this up and have a backup plan. Okay. But I already paid for this and it works. And it works great until the day that it doesn't work. And so for me, I periodically take updates, I take database backups, all those kinds of things. And so when I do that, in my mind, I'm like, if this all goes south, I can recreate it pretty quickly in a WordPress space. And I think that that's where people need to be. People need to go, if it goes bad, I've got a backup plan. And that to me is something. This whole last week with watching what's going on in the automotive areas it's hard. It's very difficult for me to have come from that industry and to be working in IT now and look at what they're going through and not be super frustrated. But it's another day, right? Hope you're having a wonderful day. Hope your week started off strong, and I hope you finish well. I'll talk to you later in the week. Have a great day. Bye-bye.